Hi everyone. So today we're going to be working with chocolate, and I just want to go through some very basic principles of chocolate. First and foremost, chocolate cannot get wet. And when I say cannot get wet, even a few drops, so if you have, here I have about a cup, just over a cup of chocolate, literally a couple drops of water in there will make the chocolate seize up and it's going to go in the garbage. So whatever type of utensil you're going to use to mix it with is not wet. You have to make sure if you're dipping fruit, it cannot be wet. Nothing can be wet when you're working with chocolate. Chocolate and water do not get along, and so that's just how that is. Next thing, what type of chocolate do I use? I use a brand called Calibot. It's from Belgium. It's rated, I believe, it's the second best chocolate in the world, but it's a lot easier to get than the first. Valrhone is the best chocolate in the world. This is just a lot easier to get. Tastes incredible. And it's easy to work with. So this is the type of chocolate I use. They have all different types. I use their milk, I use their white. I use a semi-sweet, number 835, I think. If you get they make an 11-pound bar of the semi-sweet. And if you need chocolate that is dairy-free, the 11-pound bar of 835, I believe, is totally dairy-free. If you get it as chocolate chips, that, for whatever reason, is not dairy-free. Anyway. So that's that. The next thing, chocolate has to be tempered. Chocolate is something called an emulsification. Chocolate has cocoa butter in it. If you've ever seen chocolate and you open up like a chocolate bar and there's white streaks on it or just covered in white, that's because the cocoa butter has separated it out of the chocolate. So chocolate is an emulsification. What does that mean? An emulsification is basically mixing two liquids together that don't naturally mix. The best example, if you've ever seen in a bottle of Italian dressing and you see the oil on top and the vinegar on the bottom and you shake it up, when you shake it up and they mix together, that's being emulsified. If you look at the back of a Hershey's chocolate bar, it has an ingredient called lecithin. Lecithin is an emulsifier and it basically helps keep the cocoa butter mixed within the chocolate so you don't see those white streaks. When you melt chocolate, you have to do something called tempering it. If you don't temper it properly, you'll get those white streaks in whatever you're dipping into the chocolate or however you're using it. The other thing is when you take a chocolate bar and it has like a nice little snap to it, chocolate that is unemulsified doesn't have that snap. So we're gonna go through an emulsification process. This is a relatively small amount of chocolate, so we're gonna actually melt in a microwave. We're gonna put it on for about 45 seconds. So when I was at the Culinary Institute of America, I had a class called Pâtissier, which is pastry in English, and everyone had to do a project. I happen to be an ex-engineering student and I love bridges. So what did I do for my project? I made a suspension bridge out of chocolate, which was a lot of fun. Anyway, so I was working on this suspension bridge, and what happened was I had literally tempered chocolate so many times that day. At nighttime, I had a dream where my legs were melting. So, kind of funny. So this has been in the microwave just for about 45 seconds. Starting to melt a little bit. It's probably gonna have to go in for another 30 to 45 seconds. So let's talk a little bit more about the principles of tempering chocolate. Chocolate melts at about 90 degrees Fahrenheit, I believe. Your body temperature is at 98. That's why if you take a piece of chocolate and you put it in your hand, it will melt. Years ago, the old M&M commercials used to say, it melts in your mouth, not in your hand. That's because the chocolate is actually enrobed in a sugar casing, and sugar melts at well above 200 degrees. If it's just pure chocolate, it would melt in your hand. That's why if you hold chocolate for too long, it actually melts. As far as heating the chocolate, you can't really heat chocolate past 115, maybe 120 degrees. Anything more than that, the chocolate will actually burn, and once again, the chocolate will be going in the garbage. So you notice as I'm going in the microwave, I do it slowly. I do it in like 45-second increments. So how do you tell? Ideally, you want to melt the chocolate to be between 110 and 120, around 115 degrees. How do you tell? Very easy. If you don't have a thermometer, you just dip your finger in it and touch it to the bottom of your lip. This is one of the most sensitive parts of your body as far as heat goes. It should feel a little bit warm. This was actually cold still, so I'm going to put it in for another few seconds. Go another 20 seconds or so. It is a lot better to Do it in short increments as opposed to trying to do it for 2 minutes straight. Very often you just burn the chocolate, it goes in the garbage. Done that a couple of times in my life. I don't suggest you do that. So I'm going to mix this up again, just in the microwave. Once again, I'm going to test it to my, and that's pretty perfect. Your body temperature being about 98, when it feels just a little bit warm, it's just above that. So I have a cup of chocolate here. I have about 1/3 of a cup of chocolate here. What we're going to do is we're going to take this, we're going to stir that in. And when this comes down to about 86 degrees Fahrenheit, it will be considered to be tempered. You do want to move it as much as possible to kind of bring the cocoa butter together with the chocolate. So now that all the chocolate is melted, I'm going to try it again. It should be relatively cool to the touch at this point. And it is, which is good. What we're going to do to finish the tempering chocolate, we're going to heat it up just slightly, just about another 3 or 4 degrees. I'm going to put it in the microwave just for a few seconds, probably about 10 seconds. So that should be ready. Let's put this aside for a minute. For small amounts of chocolate, I just use a microwave. If I'm doing large amounts of chocolate, 5 to 10 pounds, then you do it over a water bath. Put your chocolate in a bowl and heat it over a water bath. A couple of things with that one, if you do it that way. One, it should be lightly simmering. It shouldn't be blasting heat. Chocolate scorches very, very easy. Steam is at about 212 degrees or even a little bit hotter. So you can burn your chocolate very easy. So it should just be lightly simmering. The other part of it is it shouldn't be touching the water, and you just keep mixing it and eventually it'll melt. So that is definitely an option if you're doing very, very large amounts of chocolate. For small amounts of chocolate, the microwave is the easiest way. All right. So that should be ready. Let's put this aside for a minute. So a couple of other things about chocolate. Chocolate is very, very sensitive to heat and does have cocoa butter in it. So what that means, one, if you get chocolate on your clothes, because of the cocoa butter, it is going to stain your clothes. Oil stains your clothes and chocolate will also stain your clothes. The other thing is, how do you wash something? Like this bowl had chocolate in it. What's the easiest way to wash it? Very, very hot water, because it just literally melts the chocolate off. You can sit and scrub the bowl if the chocolate doesn't come off. Put a little bit of hot water on there, it comes right off. So just some helpful hints, we'll say. So earlier today, I made truffles. So this chocolate is tempered at this point. We just tempered it. If you like this video, please like, subscribe, and share it with your friends. Please leave your comments below. Have a great day. Be safe.